Hello and welcome once again to the video. In this one I thought I would take a look in a very simple way, just as a fan's eye view of all of the new, and there's lots of them, driver aids in Formula One in 2026. 4 different things. All of them are manual to a certain extent, but also they can be automatic as well within the car. But we had last year, of course, we had DRS we've had for how many years now? 12 years or something. I don't know. We used to have ERS, which had evolved from KERS, K-E-R-S, KERS being Kinetic Energy Recovery System. I think that just created energy from braking. That was all, just kinetic energy. Whereas ERS took power from the power unit as well from 2014 onwards. So we had ERS, and then ERS went a number of years ago. How many years ago did ERS go? 8 years? Don't know, something like that. So that just left us with DRS, the drag reduction system, which is where the rear wing would open up at a particular point if the driver was 1 second behind at the previous detection point, 1 second behind the driver in front. So I've never really known with DRS. I've tried to find out, but it's never been entirely clear to what extent it's manual and to what extent it's automatic. I've never really known. Anyway, it's gone now. DRS is history for now. You can't say anything. You can't say anything is history. Like, look at Star Wars, for instance. Everyone says that because Disney sort of killed off the Skywalker line and finished that off, although there is supposed to be a Rey Skywalker film in the works. But anyway, Disney basically said that's enough of Skywalker now. But of course, you can't say that's forever, because Disney may well sell Star Wars to another company who will just bring it back. It's the same with DRS. DRS could be back in another 5 years' time. These things go backwards and forwards. I mean, we've got narrower tyres now, haven't we? I think they're slightly narrower in 2026, and I thought the whole point was making them fatter. You know, in 2022 we had fatter tyres. Now now they've been reduced. Backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Probably bring grooved tyres back as well soon. I hope they don't. So yeah, DRS is gone for now, but could well be back. So what I want to do is I'm just going to list down. Now, I'm no expert, so I've had to, like most people really, I've had to look all this stuff up to get on top of it and understand it. And I think I do understand it enough to do this video anyway. So I'm going to list the 4 new things that have replaced DRS. It's a bit complicated, isn't it? Because, I mean, they're trying to give more control back to the drivers, but all they've done is given them a lot more buttons to press. I would prefer it if the drivers were just concentrating on driving instead of having to concentrate on what mode they're in or what mode they're allowed to go in, or whether they should press the big yellow button yet, or the big green button yet, or the big red button, or the big yellow button. I would rather them just concentrate on driving, but never mind. Okay, so let's start with overtake mode. Overtake mode. Now, this is in some ways similar to DRS. I mean, it's very different to DRS, and it's also similar. The similar aspect is the fact that it gets activated if you are within 1 second of the car in front. If you are within 1 second of the car, say in focus. If you are within 1 second of the car in front, then it will activate. But the big difference is, so I'm going to put like DRS within 1 second. And this is the thing. What it does is it releases if you are within 1 second and you've gone, you've gone into the activation zone and all that stuff. It's the same as DRS in that regard. Then you get a boost, but you don't get a boost from aerodynamics because it's not drag reduction system. So it's not aerodynamics. It's not the rear wing opening. It's an extra boost of power from your electrical energy, from your battery, basically. So I'm going to put boost from battery. I think it's just your electrical. I think it's just electrical energy instead of using aerodynamics. Now here we go. Aero. I think that's correct. So there you have it. At first I was getting a bit confused because I was hearing people talk about it replacing DRS, but then all they were saying to describe it was saying, oh, you have to, if you cross the activation zone within 1 second of the car in front, then it automatically activates. And I was thinking, hang on, you just described DRS, but you're saying it replaces DRS. And it was only a few days ago that I managed to find out that where you're getting that boost from is the big difference. You're not getting it from the aerodynamics, from the rear wing opening. You're getting it from the power unit, I suppose you can call it, which is, I think this year, 2026, it's going to be 50% electrical power. Imagine that. That's a bit scary because I don't want Formula One to turn into E1. I don't want it to be like E-Racing. What do they call that series, the electrical one? I don't know. I don't want it to turn into that. But 50%, that's fine. That's okay. But I think last year it was 20% electrical power and it's gone up to 50%. Yes, in a way that's good, but let's not dumb down F1 too much. F1 is doing great things for the environment, It's trying. It's still bad for the environment, but absolutely everything is bad. If I eat a sandwich, it's bad for the environment. So everything is bad for the environment. So there you go. That's the big difference between overtake mode. They actually came up with, you notice that that's a lot simpler than DRS. You have to know what the words are in DRS. Overtake mode explains it, and that's because the FIA went to great efforts to quiz groups of people and troubleshoot different words and series of words until they found the ones that they felt the audience would be able to follow the easiest. So they came up, for this one, they came up with overtake mode, basically, overtake mode. Next, we have another mode. We have boost. I'm not too happy with the size of my B. Should I make it bigger? There you go. Oh, that's all quite small, actually. Never mind. So what we have there now, next up, is boost mode. Now, boost mode is the same as overtake mode in that you're getting your energy, you're getting your boost. Well, I think you're getting your boost from both the battery and the combustion engine. So I want to put there, I think so. From both battery. So it's not just electrical, I think. I'm glad I'm not having to think about this whilst driving at 200 miles an hour with Max Verstappen right behind me. Boost from both battery and combustion engine, right? And you can have it anywhere on the track. Oops. Okay, anywhere on the circuit. Attack. Oh dear. Okay, let's change that. There you go. Great recovery. Attack and defense. So this is the best one. I think this is the best out of all of them because this is the one that gives the driver the most flexibility. They can do this anywhere on the circuit, the boost button. Formula One has not had that before. Well, I suppose they had ERS. You could use ERS, I guess, anywhere. Could you use that anywhere on the circuit? I can't remember. But this is supposed to be a bigger boost than from ERS anyway. And it's anywhere on the circuit. So obviously you can use it for attack or defense in the same way that people used to for ERS. So is it the same as ERS? That's just energy recovery, but this is coming from the combustion engine as well as the battery. God, it's very confusing. They're not making F1 simpler, are they? But anyway, that's boost mode, which I think is sort of the best one. And that word boost, that explains it pretty well. Okay, so next up, oh, wrong pen. Next up is recharge. Did I do that? No, I did partial capitals, didn't I? I always tell my kids off for doing some letters in capitals and some in lowercase. Oh dear, never mind. Okay, so recharge. Now, what does recharge do? Well, recharge gives you the stuff you need for boost mode. I assume you get overtake mode regardless of recharging, but the boost mode, you're building up your boost with the recharge. And the drivers can do it. It's partially manual and partially automatic. For instance, drivers can recharge through braking, lift and coast into corners. That's basically pretty much all the drivers can do. But there are lots of other ways that the car, and it will depend on the circuit and it will depend on the engine map. It will depend on how the team has set up the car for that particular circuit or that particular session, as to what happens automatically. But for instance, there is something that I'd never heard of before, super clipping, which I think is a great word. Now, super clipping is recharging at end of a straight, but when on full power, when in or on full power, when at full power. Okay, when at full power, yeah. So, as opposed to lift and coast. Now, obviously, a driver can't do that. If they're going full beans towards a corner, flat out, they haven't braked yet. There's no way they can start messing about trying to do a little bit of super clipping whilst at full speed. They can't do that. It's impossible. They can't do that. Maybe they could press a button if there was a button in the in the thing for them to do, but there isn't. So that's super clipping, apparently. It's a great couple of words. I love super clipping, but I don't really, what do they really mean? The driver isn't clipping the corner because it's nothing the driver is doing. It's an automatic thing that happens. Super clipping. It's an automatic thing that happens. I guess the first word is, you can describe that. You can say, well, super simply means you're going super fast at the time it happens, you know. But the clipping, you're not clipping the corner with super clipping because, as I say, it's not something the driver does. You're clipping the revs, maybe clipping the power in some way. So you're clipping the power when the car is going super fast, super clipping. But it's something that the car itself does if it's programmed to do it on a particular session at a particular circuit. And there are other things as well, other automatic things that can be built into the individual settings for that particular session. But as I say, the driver can do through braking and lift and coast. They can also recharge. Shall I underline these? Maybe I should underline these, yeah? Why not? Overtake mode. Boost mode. Recharge. Okay, so let's now do the last one is active Aero. Now that is explained because it's your aerodynamics. So it's to do with the aerodynamics, and it's basically about activating your aerodynamics. So that you can understand what that means going by the words. Now with DRS, that just affected the rear wings, but this is going to be front. Front and rear wings, basically. And here, the drivers they open for the straight, but it's closed by automatically. Maybe the driver can close them early, but if the driver forgets to close them for health and safety, the car will do it for the driver. So you could say drivers open for straights. Do I keep misspelling straight, by the way? I do, don't I? Look at that. I'm sure it's S-T, is it? S-T-I-T-S. S-T-I-T. Oh, you know what? I'm going to put that. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense or not. Anyway, that doesn't look right though, does it? That doesn't look right. Front and rear wings. Drivers open for straights. Automatic for corners. I'm going to put automatic. How many times have I written straight down here? Only the once, I think. There. Automatic for corners. Yeah, and also I think it's that there are going to be greater areas because I think it's for all straights basically. More zones than with DRS, I think. I think it's most of the straights basically that the driver can open it up for, and then it gets closed automatically. But yeah, I'm sorry about the straight. You know what? When I think of the Straits of Gibraltar, I'm sure that's how it's spelled. But then again, if it's a straight bit of road, maybe it's. I put them both down anyway, so I apologise. One of them is going to be correct. One of them will be correct, I hope. So there you go. So that's now whether or not they're actually going to work. I think it's. I don't know. I think it's making things more complicated. You know, isn't it making things more complicated? Certainly for anyone watching it is. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan. I shall withhold judgment. Let's go into it with a big beaming smile and just see what happens. Yeah, we can judge afterwards, because even the people that create these modes, they don't know if they're really going to work. F1 is littered with rules that come in that then don't work, so they have to be changed. I mean, that's why the rules are changed every few years, partially because the teams get on top of the rules and end up controlling the rules, so they have to keep the teams on their toes, but also because a lot of the things they try out just don't work. I think grooved tyres, when they came in 98, they were supposed to improve overtaking, and they didn't, so they went after a few years. And then they keep swapping between fat tyres and skinny tyres, backwards and forwards, a bit like a mobile phone company that, whenever it comes out with a new phone, it'll have rounded edges, and then the following year it'll have squared edges, because it's the new phone, and then the following year after that, the new one will have rounded edges again, and then square edges, and then rounded edges, backwards and forwards. So, and that's what they are doing here, basically, a little bit, all throughout the history of Formula One. So we shouldn't judge just yet, but I really hope it doesn't, get a bit too complicated for the drivers. But they're already used to doing a lot in the car. But how much better would the driving be if the steering wheels looked like they did, 30 years ago, 40 years ago? How much better would the racing be? Maybe a lot better. I don't know. But I thought we were getting back to simplicity in 2026, but no, we're not. Okay, so there you have it, and there it is. Just my little rundown there. If I've got anything wrong, including the spelling of straight, then please let me know. And anything else as well that I've got wrong here. I think I've got it pretty much correct. Some of the little details might not be correct. But anyway, that's it for now. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so. I shall be doing more F1 videos now as we approach the F1 season, especially when the testing comes out. And I release non-F1 videos, but the thing I mostly do is F1 videos. All of them are supposed to be ASMR anyway, although I don't go overboard with the ASMR. But anyway, so there you go. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so, or like the video, or comment on the video, or leave a tip on the thanks button below the video. And I will see you on the very next video, whatever it may be about. Goodbye for now.